as the basis of man is imperfect and insignificant in the beginning of his birth. Hence to make him perfect is not possible without hardship and treatment like the alchemy that purifies the brass and copper and renders it into gold is extremely difficult. Everyone cannot identify it. Likewise this alchemy that purifies the basis of man from the impurities of beastly habits, and brings to it the angelic purification and nicety due to which it gets the eternal bliss. It is very difficult and every person does not know it. The alchemy of eternal bliss is also not found everywhere. Rather it is found in the divine treasure. The divine treasure in the heavens is the beings of the angels, and on the earth the hearts of the prophets. Whosoever will search them anywhere except the court of prophethood, he will go astray and ultimately will be defrauded. Allah thus gave man the heart and its kingdom to reign over. He provided him with the army, the force to do so, also the wherewithal to ride. In order to make him rise to the higher grounds of grandeur, he must follow his heart, do good deeds and consider the akhirat, that is the hereafter, as his real country of permanent abode. The good deeds are called ibadat, the worship of God. The man has been created as Ashraful Makhlukat, the most superior of all Allah's creations. Thus he is superior to the animals and the beasts. No doubt, the stature bestowed by Allah on each thing is the culmination of his kindness to it. For example, the horse is superior to the donkey, as the donkey only carries weight, whereas a horse gallops bravely in the battle, in jihad, war in the cause of the Allah to the consummate command of the knight rider, although in its own forte the horse can also carry weight as the donkey does. Hence, there is a marked difference between them. If the horse did not have these qualities and a more graceful bearing, its stature would also have been reduced to that of the donkey. To all intents and purposes, if man becomes a prey to the world and the worldly desires, the dogs and the swines would be better than him, because they would be dissipated. But the man would remain submerged in azab, the sufferings due to the retribution of his deeds. It means that if the man has recognized the altitude of his status, he must simultaneously remember the damage, the loss, that is likely to accrue to him, if he fails to live up to it. When the heart gives the finger an order to this effect, it obeys the instruction given and moves. Likewise, when the heart is in anger, the entire body starts perspiring. Also when the heart thinks of eating, the agility in the lower portion of the tongue is aroused to serve him. Hence it is evident that the heart has superintendence over the entire body. That is, the heart is in control of the whole body. Therefore, it is essential to know also whether it can also influence and control the bodies of others. For example, if such a heart encounters a lion, it will become overawed and subdued. Similarly, if such heart were to show special compassion for a sick person, he would recover from the ailment. This is logically possible and is an oft-proved fact, since it is also possible that the clean heart of such a gifted person, amongst them having sharp intellect, may receive knowledge of many kinds of ulum learnings. If someone sends his servant to you even for a day, you will feel grateful to him for it. Allah the Merciful has assigned thousands of these professional workmen and craftsmen human organs to serve you indefatigably. How strange that yet you are not thankful to him. The person who does not know his own self and claims to know others is like that pauper who cannot feed himself but professes to have the poor and the destitute of the city at his dining table. One day Sheikh Abu Sa'id R.A., a highly respected saint, was going somewhere in the company of some Sufis. They reached a place and saw the people there were doing the job of cleaning the human excreta. The path was littered with stinking dirt. Everyone was taken aback at the sight of the nuisance, muffed their noses, and ran aside helter-skelter. But Sheikh remained standing there, and said, "Listen, O people, do you know what this pile of filth is saying to me?" They inquired, "What?" He replied that it is saying that, "Till yesterday I was in the bazaar in the form of the fruit and the sweets, etc. People were spending money lavishly on me, remained the night in their bellies. Then I turned into this obnoxious smelling rot. Should I run away from you, or you from me?" All parts of the body are subservient, and under the direct control of the soul. The soul of man is the king in this context in so much as the entire universe is under the direct control of Almighty Allah, the King of the universe. When you intend to write down Bismillah, by the name of the Allah, on a piece of paper, your heart desires to do so first. Then the heart, the real heart, not the one on the left side of your body, stirs to this effect, and orders the brain to have it implemented. The first sensitive chamber of the brain, which is the place of the human Kimiya-I, the conjuring up of the thought of it, does it. The concept of the thought is conceived. It is imparted by the brain to the muscles of the brain, which spread and extend it to the body. The writing fingers get directed, the veins and its tissues receive the message to this effect. In turn they hold the pen and inscribe the words according to the stimuli received. The other sensory organs also aid and abet, and Bismillah is written. Hence, it is possible to infer that the entire transaction took place on account of the basic will to do so. In the same manner, in the inception, or the beginning of everything, this will, or the irada, is of the essence. When it is attributed to Allah, this will of his is called the irada-i-bari, viz. The paramount will of Allah. Misguided people is that they state that Allah is Rahim al-Kareem, merciful and forgiver of sins. He will forgive us, although they should also remember that whereas He is merciful, He is also Shadid al-Iqab, that is, He also punishes severely. They do not take into consideration that many of His makhluk, that is, many people, suffer from ailments, hunger, and various dire predicaments due to their own follies. They do not see that, unless people work for their living, whether in trade or in agriculture, they will live from hand to mouth. Such fallacious thinking is like living in a fool's paradise. Indeed, Allah is Khair Razikin, the best provider of risk, the subsistence, but man must try to earn his living. Body is for the heart, as a camel is for Hajj. He rides it and reaches the Kana-i-Kaaba. The reverse of it is not true. That is, the Hajj is not for the camel, but the camel is for the Hajj. Naturally, the Hajj will feed the camel till it reaches the Kana-i-Kaaba. Any let up or delay, any neglect on his part on this account, will be damaging to his objective. The heart's food is noble. The more food the heart gets, the better it is for the soul, with the result that a heart nourishes well, with the love and the quest of Allah finds its niche, and rides the body like a knight rider, who has the reins of its mount in its hand. So do not let its reins get loose. When you are fully in control, the body's lust, the greed and malfeasance of the unholy, and the misleading urges will be curbed. It is like telling a lad, "Son, don't waste your time in playful trivialities. This is your age to learn and make something of yourself, or else you will not be able to retain or maintain your father's wealth and kingdom at all." Do you think he will listen to you? No. But if you stress the right note of the wisdom and say to him, "Son, if you do not learn your lessons well, your teacher will take you to task, pull your ears, and perhaps complain about you to your father," he will respond to you forthwith, since he is aware of the veracity of fear. The heart is encompassed by this hell of the soul. Actually, there is 3 kinds of fire in hell of the soul. The fire of the pangs of separation from the world. The fire of feeling ashamed of worldly ill deeds. The fire of being disgraced before Allah. Such a person can be compared to a mighty king, who ruled over his kingdom with much pageantry and pomp and show. His subjects obeyed him like serfs. Caravans laden with gold, silver, pearls, peacocks, and ivory came to him. He was fabulously rich. He had a grand castle with lush green lawns, and fruit-laden, flower-bedded orchards. He utilized the services of many slaves and beautiful maidens to please him in many ways, as he liked. They were at his beck and call all the time, and so were many other luxuries which satiated him not. He walked around in these gardens of pleasure arrogantly, desiring more and more to add to his lust and licentiousness. Suddenly, his rule was upset by somebody. In utter anticlimax, he was made to look after the dogs of the kennel of the new ruler, who had ended his rule. To add insult to injury, he was made to do so before his erstwhile subjects. Right before his eyes, the new king partook of all the luxuries, and used his slaves, both men and women, whom he used to treat as his abject personal property. You can well imagine his disappointment and dismay. The fire of separation from such unparalleled pleasures and possessions put him to the hell of such hectic agony, and felt miserable. We reiterate that the greater the indulgence in such worldly desires, the greater will be the chagrin of such a man. He will keep on being devoured by its fire. You can compare the plight of such a person from the following example. Suppose a generous king gets kindly disposed toward a person of mean temperament, gives him a position of honor, entrusts the affairs of the kingdom to him, by making him his elite assistant, and banks on him in all matters with full confidence, as one can expect. The man, being unworthy of such trust due to the shallowness of his nature, instinctively revolts against his benefactor by misusing his free access to the king's harem, and misappropriating the funds of the realm's treasury. Ostensibly, he pretends to be loyal to his duties. However, one day the king sees him in his true colors, from some vantage point. He also comes to know of it. How is he likely to feel when he is caught red-handedly in this manner? The answer is obvious. Very guilty. Shame will mantle his face. He will be in the dread of his life. Like this, he will be engulfed by the fire of shame and humiliation in his own eyes. We can find the example of such a person in that of a group of people who go somewhere in the dark and find beautiful seashells for the picking. Others collect as many of them as they can, but he declines to follow them suit, vainly considering them to be dull conches of no value. His friends were sensible and discerning, but he teased and taunted them all the way, and called them fools. Came the dawn when he realized that, not his colleagues, he himself was a fool, as he did not follow them suit, and lost an invaluable treasure of gems. He was now very sorry that his friends had become wealthy, and he was left to remain a pauper, for which he himself was to blame. Blessed are those who collect the jewels of the God's pleasure and of his benevolence in this world, and line happily in the hereafter. The intent of the people for Shalat used to be free from all kinds of devilish whispers and wayward thoughts. Anything to the contrary is insensible. The true intrinsic truth of the fasting is that man should become angel-like. The angels are pure and immune to all desires. Vice versa, the animals are submerged in desires. Therefore they are far away from the Malaika, the angels. Consequently, the man who is sunk in the vagaries of lust and avarice becomes like an animal. Conversely, when the desires are overcome, he becomes similar to angels. From this point of view, man is in close proximity to the angels, and the angels are close to Allah. Hence, that man will to become close to Allah Hence that man will to become close to Allah who acquires their traits. Here are many morals to be learnt, many lessons to be gained from Hajj. The more dedicated a person is, the more enlightened he will become. Also, more the enlightenment, the more will be the blessings of Allah. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, has said that, I am leaving behind 2 teachers of great wisdom for you. One of them would be articulate white, the other would be silent somber, viz. the Holy Quran and the Death. One day Hazrat Umar Farooq, Allah be pleased with him, remained extremely preoccupied into the affairs of the state, till midday prayers. After Zuhr he came home, and was about to have a little nap for momentary respite, when his son respectfully addressed him and said, Ya Abba, dear father, you are taking rest here. Death can come to a man at any moment. It is quite likely that people may be waiting for you for the resolution of their problems outside. He liked it and went out to attend to his duties. Hazrat Umar Farooq, Allah be pleased with him, used to say, when I get up from my mimbar pedestal, here, parapet for justice, half the people are angry with me. I can't please everybody. Although I have the welfare of all at heart, however I cannot leave aside the raza, the pleasure of my Khalik the Creator, for the raza of the Makhluk, the people at any cost. One day a person paid his respects to the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and asked, Ya Rasul, what is deen? He, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, replied, Act like Alaya, the best demeanor and conduct. He kept on asking this question repeatedly, but each time he, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, gave him the same answer and added, Believe me, this is the deen, and don't get frustrated. The Holy Prophet has confirmed this, and said that eating more than once in a day borders on asraf, exceeding the veritable limit. Once meal in a day keeps the man in good trim. He is able to perform his tahajjud more ease. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, saw a person scolding Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Allah be pleased with him. He remained quiet, but when Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Allah be pleased with him, was about to reply to him, the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, stood up. Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, Allah be pleased with him, also stood up, and requested him to kindly remain seated. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, Abu Bakr, when you were quiet, an angel was answering the offender, but when you were about to reply to him, the Satan replaced him. Naturally, I cannot be in his presence. A thief stole something belonging to Hazrat Abdullah ibn Masud, Allah be pleased with him. People started sending lanat on him, that is, started cursing him for it. Hazrat ibn Masud, Allah be pleased with him, said, O Allah, if the thief has done so in dire need, I forgive him and let the thing be Mubarak, welcome, blessed, of happy omen and augury to him. However, if he has done so in boldness of criminal practice, I pray that it may be his last crime. Hadrat bin Abdullah, Allah's mercy may be on him, gave a piece of advice to the king, guard against pride, as the first sin committed was caused by the pride. The Iblis had not bowed before Adam due to pride. Be away from greed, as it became the cause of ouster of Adam. Peace of Allah be upon him, from paradise. Save yourself from jealousy, as it became the cause of first unjust blood shedding when Habil had murdered Kabil. Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, He, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, the friendship of world is the chief of all sins. Hazrat Abu Huraira, Allah be pleased with him, reported that one day the Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, do you want that I should show you the world in its original form? Then he got hold of my hand and took me to a place where skulls of the dead human beings and animals and the garbage were lying. He, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said, these skulls were also filled with lust and desires like your skulls. Today, these are such bones that have no flesh on them, and they would also soon turn into dust. And this garbage are those multiple kinds of food, which were brought with much hardship, and now have been thrown away that all people hate them. And these rags were those prideful garments that used to wave in the air, and these bones are of the animals, and rides on which people used to ride for walk and journey. So this is the reality of the world.